Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be looking at a scenario where the Soviet Union returns in the modern day. Now, the Soviet Union is the second strongest country to ever exist in history, of course only beaten out by their rival in the United States, but it would be very interesting to see what would happen if they returned in the modern day. First, I do want to say that I've been trying to do these videos in one take so I can just like record the next video after this because I like recording these videos and it's fun. It also allows me to upload 2 videos a day, which is also pretty fun because I get to see the results live. Anyways, let's jump right on into this scenario. And I do want to say before we start that nuclear bombs will not be used in this scenario. Now, let's jump right on into it. Now, to start off, alliances are not included in this, but an alliance will immediately form to counter the Soviet Union immediately off the bat, which is kind of funny because, well, the Soviet Union was, it's all about them, and it's like immediately getting turned on, or not turned on, getting, I guess, ganged up on, but not really. It's having a coalition forming against it. Of course, if it like makes a move, like if they do anything, they're probably going to get obliterated off the face of the earth. So, yeah, to start off, this alliance will include a lot of countries, most of which are going to be members that are already a part of the NATO alliance today. Starting off, we have the United States and Canada, and then moving over to Europe, we're going to see a few countries joining up here. Those countries are going to be a whole bunch of countries that were initially part of NATO when it formed, including France, Portugal, the United Kingdom, the Benelux region, and Norway. So all these countries will be joining together in an alliance in order to supposedly not allow Russia to expand. So, yeah, we'll see if they're going to be able to be successful at this later in the video. But for now, we're just going to see an alliance forming while I struggle to color in Norway's coastline here. It's really annoying to do that because it's just so chaotic. Anyways, from here, we're going to see the Soviet Union doing their very first thing, and that is claiming land they rightfully believe is theirs. And the first country which will be experiencing this firsthand is the country of Finland, who will get invaded by Russia. Now, Finland, they're part of NATO, but I mean, the Soviet Union is gonna just have their way here because, of course, NATO isn't really around to do anything about it. We're going to see the capital of Finland very quickly falling over. I know Finland wouldn't be this quick in falling, but you got to remember the Soviet Union has been buffed to the modern day, and they're going to see a lot of success in their operation against Finland. So, yeah, they're going to be able to get away with this pretty easily, as they will go ahead and fully annex the entirety of Finland into their country. And yeah, that's pretty big right off the bat, as the Soviet Union is expanding into land that was owned by the previous Russian Empire. And at this point, they're gonna mingle in some foreign politics, most particularly in Eastern European countries, in order to rig elections and cause them to join alliances with them. The easiest country to do this is in Serbia, where they're already heavily pro-Russia, and that's not what I want to do. This is what I want to do, as Serbia will sign an official alliance with Russia, and soon after, the exact same thing will happen in Hungary. And yeah, these two countries will officially join up with an alliance with the Soviet Union. As well as this, they're going to rig alliances. They're going to rig governments elsewhere. More particularly, they're going to rig the elections in Mongolia to have a pro-Soviet leader in that country as well. From here, they are going to convince North Korea to join up with this alliance as well. And at this point, this alliance is kind of growing out of control. And the Blue Alliance will also begin to grow out of control, as they're going to add 3 very strong countries into it. Italy, Spain, and Germany will all join the alliance. And as well as this, we're going to see Denmark joining it as well, if I can color them in. There we go. And as well as that, we're going to see Iceland joining. So a lot of the countries who are a part of NATO in our timeline will join up with this kind of neo-NATO in this scenario. Because, I mean, if they didn't, this giant Soviet monster would be eating up all of Europe right now. But one country hasn't joined up with this alliance, and that country is Poland, who is gonna get invaded by Russia. This is because the Soviets believe that uh, similar to how they now own Finland in this scenario, they believe that the World War One claims of Russia need to be restored to Soviet honor and even expand past that for the Poles taking this land from them in the first place. From here, we're going to see the capital of Poland being completely surrounded and eventually it will fall. And at this point, Soviet forces will very quickly begin to push up to the German border, where they will stop because obviously they're not going to invade all the way into Germany because that would be a death sentence. And from here, we're going to see Poland getting fully annexed by the Russians. They're kind of just out of control. And yeah, the Russians will see more success and expansion, but at this point, they can't really go anywhere without the whole world trying to kill them. And even countries who are supposed to be neutral will violate that neutrality and join up, countries like Austria. And from here, even more countries begin to rejoin this neo NATO, and it's just kind of growing out of control to where almost every single country in NATO is a part of it again, except for a few in the Balkans and Eastern Europe. But a lot of NATO has been restored. At this point, they're going to try and counter this by invading into Slovakia. Hungarian forces will push up from the Hungarian border and will quickly wipe out this country. And yeah, at this point, the Hungarians will go ahead and completely annex the entirety of Slovakia into their country. And let's erase this capital here. And yeah, now what does this alliance do? Well, it's gonna cause some controversy as they are going to kind of just go on a chain of destroying these countries here. The USA doesn't want to risk involvement in any of these conflicts because otherwise they might start World War III. So Serbia is going to end up looking like this, and eventually they will move into Macedonia. And then comes the breaking point, Bosnia. No one really wants Bosnia to fall because it would probably cause World War III. But Bosnia is going to begin to fall apart anyway. Serbia, without order from their alliance, will launch an invasion into Bosnia, very quickly beginning to take over parts of the country. At this point, blue team forces will come in as purple team forces against the will of the blue team's alliance. And eventually, we're going to see the Bosnian area being divided in two, and these groups will begin to fight with one another. Eventually, blue team forces will overwhelm the Serbian forces, and it's gonna eventually look something like this, where they have occupations in Bosnia, but eventually they're gonna move into Serbia. And from here, forces from Albania will begin to push in as well. And at this point, Croatia is kind of at war with Serbia, and so is Albania. So, yeah, is this World War III? Uh, Technically, it could be, but this is really just Albania and Croatia here who are kind of at war with the entire alliance here. But that's not all, because the countries of Romania and Bulgaria will be joining this war on their side in order to hopefully stop the Russian alliance from expanding around them. As well as this, we're going to see Slovenia joining and Czechia in order to liberate Slovakia. This small alliance may form, but it's not going to be able to do much. And in the period of this war, we're going to see yet another country joining in this alliance over here, and that is Sweden, who will join up. And at this point, yeah, the alliance stuff is kind of going crazy, but very quickly, we're going to see that the blue team will see a lot of success in invading into Serbia as they will link up in the south here. From here, Romania will be able to capture Belgrade. And from here, Serbia will kind of just collapse and a new government will take over. From here, they will begin to push up into Hungary while the Soviet Union begins to militarize. And at this point, yeah, Hungary is going to very quickly begin to fall apart as they will lose their capital and eventually the whole country will surrender. At this point, Soviet forces begin to line the whole border here, but they're told to refrain by other countries around the world because they don't want to start World War III. They're just telling the Soviets to give up on their allies. But unfortunately for everyone, the Soviets are going to hold a grudge here. We're going to see them calling their other allies over here in Asia into the war, and they're going to go ahead and add a few more countries to their alliance, including Lebanon and Iran, which is a little controversial to talk about right now. I know I said that in the last few videos I've included them in, but they're going to add them into their alliance here. And as well as that, they're going to add in Algeria, Libya, and Mauritania into their alliance as well, because maybe they've been playing with politics in other countries too. Maybe even you, as Cuba will join the war on the side of the red team. As well as this, so will Eritrea, and so will Yemen. So a lot of countries are supposedly not so neutral in the matter between USSR and America. And from here, we're going to see the executive decision being made by a whole bunch of these countries to join in this war. And I say that, but that's actually not true. It'd probably be like one of these countries does like a false claim thing, and they will bring in the entirety of this neo-NATO into the war because they want to try their chances at defeating the Russians here, and this is like their only chance at doing so. With this new involvement, we're going to see more countries joining certain sides in this war. And starting off in the Americas, we're actually going to see no new countries join this war. French Guiana will, of course, though, and same with Puerto Rico. But no new countries will join the war over here. But in Africa, we're going to see Tunisia and Morocco both joining the blue team here, as well as this. That's going to drag in the Western Sahara to the red team, and got a color in these islands as well. From here, we're going to see a few more countries joining around the world, including you, which, I mean, we're not going to talk about this region, so yeah. And then over here in Asia, we're going to see a whole bunch of countries coming to the aid of the USA because, yeah, this is a big time. As well as this, we head down to Oceania, where we're going to see Australia and New Zealand joining this side of the war of the blue team because desperate times call for desperate measures for a lot of these countries. A lot of these countries don't want to join the war, but here they're just going to join the war because they're pressured to anyway. So yeah, here we have it, World War III, modern day. So let's see what happens. Starting off, we have the most obvious thing happening, and that is the US obliteration of Cuba. Yeah, that might even happen in real life, but we're going to see Cuba very quickly falling apart. From here, we're going to see the Moroccans blitzing all of the Western Sahara because they maybe already have started doing this in real life. They've done it for a bit, but eventually all this will fall under the control of Morocco. From here, they're going to move down into Mauritania, where they will eventually be stopped, as Algerian forces have entered into Moroccan territory. At this point, Libya and Algeria will squeeze through southern Tunisia, but the northern area will remain for now. And from here, we're going to capture Lebanon, but we're going to sink Israel into the ocean, as well as their counterpart, who is not involved in this war, but I don't want to make it seem like I'm picking sides. There are people dying on both sides, and I don't want to pick a side, so we're just going to do that. And Lebanon's going to be erased from the map anyway, so yeah, might as well throw them in, honestly. This isn't really changing the outcome of anything much, but I feel like it makes the map look better. Now Syria has a lot of coastline. Same with Jordan. These countries, they definitely need the coastline. Anyways, from here we can actually talk about actual front lines, because we're going to see blue team forces beginning to push into regions like Poland, which just recently fell under Russian occupation, and they're going to see a lot of success in pushing into these regions because they don't want to be a part of the Soviet Union. The exact same thing happens in regions of Ukraine and Moldova in the south as Romanian forces begin to enter in here. However, the Soviets are not complete push-arounds, as they were preparing their forces to re-enter into Hungary, which they will go ahead and do, as they now begin to quickly push in as they'll liberate the capital of Hungary. From here, we head up to Finland, where blue team forces will quickly begin to move in, taking this peninsula and Lapland, and also taking a lot of the northern area here with relative ease. From here, they quickly push across here, and now we can enable major cities because these guys are going to do a quick assault on Murmansk here, and they're going to be able to take it. From here, this whole region up here will fall over to the control of the blue team, which is pretty big victory early on because now they're beginning to push through lands of Finland relatively easily. From here, uh, yeah, the Russians thought they'd be doing a lot better in this war, but they're not. And the only place they're really doing semi well is over here in Turkey, where they're getting a lot of help from Iran, where Turkey is kind of just getting obliterated and getting pushed back here. Not to any fault of their own, this is just where a bulk of the forces of the red team are located. They're going to see success in pushing into this region here. But at this point, a country will be entering this war that could change the tide of the entire region here. And that country is Saudi Arabia, who will be joining to liberate Yemen as well as face Iran. And from here, they're going to see the UAE, Oman, Kuwait, and Jordan joining their side, Bahrain as well, but it's harder to color them in, so we're not going to be coloring them in. Anyways, from here, we're going to see a very quick assault into Yemen. This is a kind of questionable one, but it's going to happen anyway. We're going to see the capital of Amman falling. From here, we're going to see the coastal regions of Yemen being taken over by Oman, and the UAE will take Socotra. From here, a landing will be made in Eritrea, which will very quickly lead to this country kind of falling apart. I don't know much about Eritrea, so I'm just getting rid of it as quickly as possible. And yeah, from here, we're going to see a lot of the remainder of Yemen falling over to the blue team. And yeah, to simplify it, that's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of guerrilla warfare happening. But yeah, at this point, though, this happens, which is not good whatsoever because Egypt and Sudan are two pretty large countries, which could definitely pose a pretty big threat. And yeah, they've definitely had some government manipulation here. Of course, that also has to do a little bit with what's going on over here because now Darfur will join the side of the blue team in hopes of gaining their independence from Sudan. And yeah, at this point, this will drag South Sudan into this conflict because they don't like Sudan. And yeah, Ethiopia will also join. And yeah, this war is growing out of hand quickly. Might as well just do some stuff over here in Somalia and pay the government of Djibouti to do some of that stuff over with the military bases that Russia has in their country. From here, we're going to see a very quick obliteration of Somalia with help from countries all the way over here in North America and Europe. And yeah, at this point, the African front will very quickly begin to turn in the favor of the blue team as they have control of the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. And from here, they're going to quickly make a landing on the Sinai and take control over the Suez. Of course, this would happen with help from Israel. Of course, Israel is sunken into the ocean, so they're not going to be helping here, but this would happen a lot easier if they were here. But for now, this will be halted, and a very quick campaign through Sudan will happen where the civil war is promised to be ended, and eventually Sudan will fall apart completely. From here, American forces will make landings in Moroccan occupation and will help in capitulating all of Mauritania. And from here, they will begin to help out Morocco in their invasion into Algeria's desert over in this region here. From here, yeah, this is reflecting World War II in quite a bit of ways, just not really. But from here, we also need to talk about this region where a very quick event happens in North Korea, where they don't exist anymore. And American forces, as well as all these Asian forces, have seen a lot of success in pushing into Russia's far eastern territories over here, as well as the Kuril Islands and the Kamchatka Peninsula, as they're going to take basically all the major cities that they see, except for this one, because it's a little harder to get to. I'm pretty sure this is Magadan. I might be wrong, but yeah, we're going to see the war rapidly beginning to progress as the blue team is definitely winning at this point. But Russia is not a complete push around as they're going to send their forces completely back into Moldova, and now they very quickly begin to push into Romania and will go ahead and successfully capitulate the entire thing. From here, they push into Bulgaria and begin to do much of the same. As well as that, they're going to liberate the capital of Serbia and a lot of the land here as Yeah, this is pretty bad. And from here, they're going to push back a lot of the Polish rebellion and the blue team forces here. And in Finland, they're going to go ahead and finally halt this. From here, in Turkey, the advance does still happen, but it's definitely going to be halted eventually, about right there, because Turkey's, of course, top 10 power. You're not going to be able to do that easily. And from here, we're going to see the blue team kind of forcing Syria to join in on their side, not Iraq, but we're going to see Syria kind of be forcing in to join in on their side. They're not going to invade them because, of course, they just have a new government. So, yeah, Syria is more likely going to join the blue team here in order to, like, not die. Joining the red team would be a mistake that would get them obliterated, so they don't want to do that. And from here, we very quickly see the front line changing here as forces from all across Arabia will begin to help out Turkey. From here, however, we're going to see the Russians adding in a menace to America, to their alliance, which will go ahead and be. That's not Pakistan, that's Afghanistan. What is going on in my brain right now? I know that is very well not Pakistan. I don't know why I said Pakistan, but yeah, Afghanistan will be joining the side of the Russians in this war, and Pakistan will be joining the side of the blue team in this war because of their alliance with Saudi Arabia. And with this, yet another new front has opened as blue team forces now begin to push into Afghanistan. And as well as this, a new front will open up against Iran over here by Balochistan. But of course, Pakistan is a little unstable, so who knows how well they will be able to conduct this invasion like this. In one of the last videos, they like completely died. That's not as realistic here, so we're just gonna say that they don't. But now, a land invasion has happened in Iran off of this area here, and very quickly, we are going to see Iran beginning to fall apart. And yeah, this is not good for the red team, as this is one of their biggest strongholds. From here, we also continue to see the red team falling apart as forces continue to push up the Egyptian coast as well as the Nile, as they will completely follow the river up through these major cities here, now reaching almost up to Cairo, where, they're just going to take this giant triangle of desert, and then they're going to take all this here. At this point, they're just going to push up, and Egypt will kind of just die. They have no major cities left from here, and they're just gonna, fall apart. And at this point, the campaign will begin to push in from Egypt into Libya. They're gonna lose this major city here. And after a few tough campaigns, Tunisia will be gaining land against these two here, more so against Algeria, as now Algeria has been completely kicked out of Morocco, and the front line over here is now encroaching into Algerian territory. Same with the front coming from Tunisia. Eventually, however, these two fronts will link up in Algiers, and they will successfully cut off Algeria from the rest of their country. From here, they're going to lose this major city here, and the desert campaign headed by Morocco will very quickly take this major city here, and will begin to push towards the south here, just in case you need to capture this major city here. But luckily for them, they won't have to because Algeria will go ahead and surrender at this point. From here, we're going to see a very quick campaign entering into Libya, as they're going to be completely evicted from Tunisia. They're going to lose their capital and last remaining major city. From here, we're going to see Libya officially surrendering. And at this point, the blue team has completely won the front line in Africa, and in Asia, it's going to probably eventually have the same kind of thing with these guys over here. And in Europe, it's going to be back and forth, but eventually the blue team will probably win. But from here, we're going to see that the blue team's going to kick back the Russians in Siberia, as they're going to make an amphibious landing in the middle of nowhere to link up with the front in Kamchatka and gain a whole bunch of resources from the Siberian region. They very quickly begin to loot Magadan and also connecting up with this region here. And China is kind of scared for their life. But luckily for them, this front line will not be progressing whatsoever. And despite Taiwan's involvement in the war, they will choose to remain neutral. At this point, we're going to continue to see the collapse of Iran as the forces from the Arabian Peninsula and Pakistan begin to move towards each other. At this point, Qatar will join the war on the side of the blue team, and this will allow for greater unity in this region, as yeah, this is kind of cooked. Even at this point, forces begin to push out from Iraq, which was really neutral on the matter, but now they're just going to join the blue team at this point because it would benefit them a lot more. And yeah, Iran's going to kind of see a collapse in their government, and this is not reflecting what I think would happen in real life whatsoever, and I hope that's known. But eventually, we're going to see this region of Iran falling over. The mostly Azeri region will still remain under the red team control because Azerbaijan's under the red team right now. But yeah, other than that, we're going to see a lot of this southern area very quickly falling. And from here, we're going to see this whole eastern area surrendering. At this point, a very tough campaign into Afghanistan will happen where they're going to mostly liberate it, but of course, there's going to be a lot of guerrilla warfare happening in this region still. We're going to color it in blue, but this front is nowhere close to being won by the blue team whatsoever. And from here, an advance into Central Asia is completely impossible because of all the guerrilla warfare. So this is what we're going to see as a front line in this area of South and Southeast. That's not Southeast, Southwest Asia and South Asia. So yeah, now we can move over to this front here, where forces will move into the Azeri areas of Iran. As well as this, they will begin to liberate the rest of the Turkish occupied region here. At this point, they're going to be kicked back to the border of Russia, and now forces begin to push into regions of Armenia, Georgia, and Azerbaijan, as these forces will reach up to the Caucasus Mountains to where they will be stopped after liberating the three capitals. At this point, we head back to the European theater, where we're going to see each of the allies of Russia immediately getting obliterated off the map again. And from here, we're going to see the complete obliteration of the Polish area off the map again, as Russia is unable to hold on to much of this land whatsoever. It's completely unstable, and it doesn't want to be a part of them. From here, the blue team will liberate the rest of Bulgaria and Romania, and from here, a new front will be started back up in the Moldovan region, as they kind of aim to very quickly knock out the Black Sea front from this war to drain the Russians of their resources. From here, two small campaigns begin in the Caspian area to hopefully do the exact same. They see success into pushing into areas like Chechnya and Dagestan, where they're a little more separatists. But yeah, from here, they will see a little success in Turkmenistan, just not all too much. And yeah, at this point, Russia is losing on all grounds, and eventually we're gonna see them losing all their border over here in Ukraine, and eventually regions in the Baltic states, the remainder of Finland, Karelia, St. Petersburg, Ukraine, the Caucasus, and inevitably Central Asia will also begin to rebel, as Russia is not meant to be able to control all this land. There's no way. And at this point, we're going to see all these areas officially rebelling. We're going to see these groups linking up in the south. From here, we're going to see the rebellion of Mongolia. Eventually, a whole bunch of groups in the east begin to join up with the Mongols in this region here, including regions like Tanatuva and Altai. From here, we head on over to the main area of Russia, where Belarus will be obliterated off the map. And from here, Moscow will be captured for the first time successfully. And at this point, the Russians will officially surrender this war, as they have literally nothing going for them. And yeah, that's going to do it for today's video. I really hope you all enjoyed. And this one's a pretty long one because I've done a lot on the map. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. And if you made it this far into the video, make sure you do subscribe. It shows that you have liked this video, you like the scenarios, and you'd like to see more of this stuff. Liking the video shows in particular that you like this kind of content and you would like to see more of it. And yeah, that's going to do it for me, and I will see you all in the next video.